Have you ever wondered why, despite all your effort, your desires sometimes feel unreachable, almost as if there is a glass wall between you and the life you long for? It is not because your dream is far away. It is not because you are not worthy. The truth is far more subtle and at the same time, far more powerful. Most of us are walking through life carrying an invisible trap, hidden frequency prison that we don't even realize we're living inside. Science has shown us something both astonishing and humble. Dr. Bruce Lipton reminds us that as much as 95% of what we do, what we feel, and even how we respond to life is not driven by conscious choice, but by subconscious program. That means most of the time, you are not creating from fresh intention. You are repeating old patterns that were wired into you long ago. It is like being tuned to a radio station that you never consciously chose. And without knowing, you stay locked on the same song, the same melody of limitation again and again. Where does this programming come from? From the earliest years of life, childhood experiences, the emotional climate of your home, the words you heard again and again, the unspoken fears that floated in the air. All of these tuned your body and mind to a certain frequency. Like a radio set by someone else's hand, you were adjusted to a station of fear, or lack, or doubt. And now, without realizing it, that station still plays. Bruce Lipton uses a powerful image for this. Our cells are like antennas. Every cell of your body is not just matter, it is a receiver and a broadcaster of energy. Imagine thousands of tiny antennas inside you, all tuned to the vibrations you absorbed in your past. If those antennas are aligned with fear, with unworthy, with the memory of not being enough, then what they broadcast back into the field of life is only an echo of those same states. You may desire abundance, love, peace, but if the antennas are broadcasting lack, the signal of your life will always return with noise, with distortion, with disappointment. And Dr. Joe Dispenza adds another layer of understanding. Around you, there is an electromagnetic field, your personal broadcast into the universe. This field is not just shaped by what you think, but by whether your thoughts and emotions agree with one another. If your mind is saying, I am abundant, but your heart is still trembling with fear, the field becomes incoherent, filled with static, like two instruments out of tune. And just like static on a radio, that incoherence blocks the clear transmission of your intention. Think of it like this. You want to hear your favorite song on the radio. You know the station exists, but your dial is slightly off, just enough to make the melody distorted. The song is there, the station is broadcasting, but what you hear is noise, broken sound, unbearable to listen to. No matter how much you want the song, you will not hear it clearly until you adjust the dial. That is how most of us are living our lives, longing for the music of our dreams, but trapped in the noise of misalignment. So I ask you this, what if the real obstacle is not that your dream is too distant, or that the universe is not listening, but simply that your inner radio is unknowingly tuned to the wrong frequency? What if the music you have been waiting has been playing all along, but you could not recognize it through the static? In the next moments, we will journey into this hidden trap. We will uncover the invisible static of emotion, the survival frequencies that block creation, the patterns that hold us in repetition, hidden sabotage of dopamine, and the forgotten mastery of stable frequency. And step by step, you will see that the prison door has never been locked. It was only the dial waiting to be turned, the invisible era of emotional static. There is a silent contradiction that so many carry inside, though few ever recognize it. It is the moment when the lips speak of abundance, when the mind repeats affirmations of wealth and joy, but deep beneath, the heart beats with anxiety, with uncertainty, with a quiet tremor of doubt. And this tremor, this emotional undercurrent, is what life listens to. It is the hidden signal sent out, even louder than words or conscious thoughts. Many wonder why their desires do not materialize, and they think the failure is in their will. But it is not the weakness of the desire, it is the static of emotion that interrupts the signal. We have been taught to believe that manifestation is about thinking strongly enough, affirming often enough, or repeating words until they somehow shape reality. But words without coherent feeling are like letters written in invisible ink. The page may look filled, but nothing is ever impressed. Reality does not respond to the noise of scattered emotion. It responds to coherence, to the alignment between thought and feel. This is where most people stumble, not because they do not want deeply enough, but because they vibrate two opposing frequencies at the same time: the desire for abundance and the fear of its absence. The universe receives both signals, and the result is distortion. It is not thinking positive that encodes reality, no matter how often that phrase has been repeated in the world of self-help. Positivity without coherence is a weak signal, easily lost in the static of hidden doubt. True creation is born when the mind and the heart speak the same language, when the thought of abundance and the emotion of gratitude flow together in harmony. It is this emotional coherence that becomes a broadcast strong enough to ripple into the field of possibility. Without it, the signal falters, like a radio tower misaligned with its transmitter. There is a simple yet profound shift that can begin to clear the stack. For just a few moments each day, pause, breathe deep, not hurriedly, but slowly, letting the air settle the nervous system. And then, instead of forcing a thought of abundance, recall a memory where you truly felt gratitude. It could be small: the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of laughter, the presence of someone you love. Allow that gratitude to fill your body, to move from memory into sensation. In just 2 minutes of coherence, the signal begins to stabilize, the heart calm, the mind follow, and the broadcast of your being becomes clear. Emotions are not decoration. They are not option. They are the ink with which your thoughts are written into the paper of reality. If the ink is fear, then the story of fear is what gets inscribed. If the ink is gratitude, then the story of abundance is imprinted. And so the error is not in wanting. The error is in writing with the wrong ink, in affirming abundance while coloring it with anxiety. When you see this clearly, you no longer blame the universe, nor doubt your work. You simply recognize the static, and you learn to tune the signal. Beware of the frequency of survival. There is a state of being that almost everyone in the modern world has learned to accept as normal, yet it silently poisons creation at its root. It is the frequency of survival, the vibration of stress, of vigilance, of being constantly prepared for something to go wrong. The body, trapped in this state, lives on high alert, the mind scanning for threats, the heart pulsing not with trust, but with defense. And while this may seem like ordinary life, it is in truth a cage of frequency, one that blocks the flow of creation as surely as concrete blocks the growth of a seed. When the body is caught in survival, it is not new. Hormones like cortisol and adrenaline flood the system, carving pathways that signal danger, even when no danger exists. Over time, this becomes the default vibration, the background noise of daily living. You begin to confuse stress with productivity, urgency with purpose, control with safety. And yet, beneath the surface, every cell in the body is broadcasting the same message: I am unsafe. I am not ready to create. I must protect. This is the broadcast that radiates into the field of life. And what returns? More evidence of danger, more experiences that match the signal of fear. The trap lies in believing that survival brings control, that staying alert, tightening the grip, and never relaxing will somehow keep you safe. But the opposite is true. The survival frequency does not attract solutions. It repels. It cannot invite new opportunity because it signals to the universe that you are closed, unavailable, locked in defense. It cannot manifest abundance because its core message is lack. It cannot call love because its rhythm is fear. To live in survival is to keep the door of possibility bolted shut, while you wonder why no new future arrives. And yet, the shift can begin with something deceptively simple. Before rushing into decisions, before acting, pause for 5 minutes. Allow stillness to soften the nervous system, to tell the body there is no tiger at the door, no fire to run. In that stillness, the brain moves from the frantic beta state into a more creative rhythm. The heart steady, the antennas of the body, as Bruce Lipton would say, stop transmitting fear and begin to receive possibility. It is in this space that new solutions appear, often without effort, because the frequency is no longer survival, but openness. Trying to manifest from survival is like scattering seeds onto dry concrete. You may have the best seeds, the strongest intentions, the most beautiful dream. The ground cannot hold, they bounce. they scatter, and they never take root. Creation requires fertile soil, the soil of safety, of trust, of coherence. Only there can seeds of intention grow. Only there can a new future take form. Why most people fail at breaking old frequency. Patterns have a weight of their own. Even when we decide to change, even when we feel the fire of intention burning bright, we often find ourselves circling back to the same emotion, the same choices, the same out. It is as though an invisible thread keeps pulling us back into what is familiar. This is the hidden reason most people fail at breaking free from old frequencies. Not because they lack desire, but because the repetition of unconscious programs is stronger than the conscious effort. We imagine that sheer willpower is enough, that if we try hard, push more, or fight against the old story, we will finally break through. But willpower belongs to the conscious mind. And as Bruce Lipton teaches, the conscious mind is responsible for only a fraction of our daily lives. The rest, up to 95%, is governed by subconscious patterns so deeply woven into the body that they operate or automatic. To rely on willpower alone is like trying to row against the tide. You may move for a while, but the current will always carry you back. The truth is counterintuitive. Change does not happen by force. It happens through state repetition. The body, over years of living in certain emotions, becomes addicted to fear, worry, unworthiness. They become familiar chemicals, and the body longs for their return. To reprogram frequency, we must teach the body to feel a new emotion, not once, but repeatedly, until it becomes familiar, until it feels like home. Only then does the subconscious begin to anchor the new state as reality. This is why small, intentional shifts matter so deep. Each time fear arises, instead of fighting, pair it with a gesture of trust, a hand over the heart, a phrase that reminds you of safety, a posture that softens the body. These may seem like minor actions, but repeated over time, they retrain the nervous system. They create a new groove, a new rhythm, a new broadcast. Fear still knocks at the door, but each time it does, the body is gently reminded of another option, another feeling it can choose. Think of an old vinyl record. The needle has traveled the same groove for years, playing the same song until the melody feels inevitable. If you simply lift the needle and try to force it into silence, it will slip back into the old groove again and again. But if you carve a new groove, slowly, patient, the needle finds a new path. The song changes. The melody shifts. This is what it means to break old frequencies, not to destroy the path, but to carve a new path so consistently that the old one no longer calls you back. The silent factor that sabotages your frequency, dopamine. There is a hidden saboteur that works quietly in the background of modern life. It is not fear, not doubt, not even trauma, but something far more ordinary, so ordinary that we rarely notice its influence. It is dopamine, the chemical of anticipation and reward, the spark that drives us to seek stimulation. At first, dopamine seems harmless, even help. It gives energy, focus, a sense of drive. But when overstimulated, when hijacked by endless screens, social notifications, and quick hits of distraction, it fragments the mind and keeps us from ever sinking into the deep coherence where true creation happens. When dopamine floods the system again and again, it creates loops of craving. We reach for the phone, the update, the scroll, the quick distraction, not because we truly desire them, but because the body has been trained to expect constant stimulation. And yet, this endless seeking pulls us away from presence, away from the stillness where frequency aligns. It keeps our attention scattered, our energy fragmented, our field incoherent. We do not realize that the manifestation we call for is not being blocked by lack of effort, but by lack of wholeness. The signal is broken not by weakness of will, but by too many competing channels pulling us in every direction. It is a paradox of modern life. Never before have we had so many tools to connect, to learn, to grow, and yet never before have we been so fragmented in attention. The constant surge of dopamine convinces us we are moving forward, but in truth, we are only circling in place, our energy dispersed in countless unfinished signals. Manifestation requires clarity, a steady beam of coherence, but dopamine addiction scatters that beam into sparks that burn out before they touch the field. This is why silence has become so rare and also so necessary. To reclaim coherence, there must be moments when the mind is allowed to settle without the flood of artificial stimulation. An hour without phone, without music, without the constant noise of updates and alerts. just the presence of your own breath, your own awareness. In that hour, dopamine levels reset, attention returns, and the frequency becomes clear again. What feels at first like emptiness becomes fertile ground, a return to the natural rhythm that allows your true signal to emerge. Imagine your frequency as a symphony. Every thought, every emotion, every intention is an instrument playing together. When dopamine hijacks the system, it is as if one violin insists on playing wildly out of tune, breaking the harmony, disrupting the flow. The music is still there, but no one can listen to it without wincing. When you step away from overstimulation, the violin quiets. The instruments return to harmony, and the symphony of your life begins to play again, not in fragments, but in wholeness, reclaiming the master frequency of creation. There is a rhythm within creation that is often overlooked because most people are searching for intensity, for powerful rituals, for sudden breakthroughs that promise immediate change. Yet the true master frequency is not about force, nor about rare moments of inspiration. It is about stability. It is about learning to hold the same signal with calm persistence, rather than oscillating between hope and doubt. For many, the problem is not that they lack desire, but that they cannot hold their vibrations steady long enough for reality to respond. The hidden truth is that the stability, not intensity, is what shapes the field. The universe does not respond to occasional bursts of coherence, followed by long stretches of fear. It responds to the signal that is repeated, the vibration that is most consistently broadcast. Small daily moments of alignment, when practiced again and again, create a stronger effect than rare moments of heightened emotion. The body and mind do not need explosions of energy. They need continuity, a steady pulse, a reliable rhythm that convinces the subconscious this new state is real. The counterintuitive revelation is that less can be more. A minute of coherence practiced faithfully every day becomes far more powerful than an hour-long ritual performed once and then abandoned. The subconscious learns through repetition, not through rare spectacle. And so, reclaiming the master frequency means anchoring yourself into stability, teaching your body and mind to return to alignment again and again until it becomes automatic, until it no longer requires effort, until it becomes who you are. One way to embody this stability is to create an anchor, a cue that links your body and mind back into coherence. It can be as simple as placing your hand on your chest, whispering a single word that reminds you of trust, or focusing your gaze on a visual symbol that carries meaning. Each time you touch this anchor while feeling aligned, the connection strengthens. Over time, the anchor becomes a bridge back to coherence, a way of stabilizing the signal when life begins to shake. With practice, it becomes natural, a reflex that steadies your vibration in moments when the old frequency threatens to return. Think of the strongest radio station. They do not shout, they do not surge with intensity, only to fall silent again. They transmit steadily, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, until the whole city can tune in. Their power comes not from volume, but from stability. In the same way, when you reclaim the master frequency of creation, you become a steady broadcast of coherence. You no longer oscillate between faith and fear, hope and despair. You become constant, and in that constancy, reality has no choice but to reflect the signal you sustain. How to finally break free from the frequency trap. At the heart of this journey lies a truth that is both sobering and liberating. Bruce Lipton reminds us that the subconscious mind is not fate carved in stone. It is programmable. The trap you have felt inside your life is not a life sentence. It is simply the repetition of inherited vibrations. Generations of fear, unworthiness, and limitation may have set the dial of your inner radio, but the dial can be moved. The music of your life can be retuned. The prison door was never locked. It was always waiting for your awareness to open. This shift is not about escaping your reality, but about reinterpreting the signals you have been sending and receive. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction has been part of a pattern, a broadcast repeated so often that it began to seem like truth. To break free is not to flee from life, but to consciously choose which signal you will amplify, which vibration you will sustain. When perception changes, frequency change, and when frequency changes, reality follows. Neville Goddard spoke of imagination as the steering wheel of life. He knew that imagination was not a child's game, but the deepest instrument of creation. What you vividly imagine and what you allow yourself to feel as real is the frequency that imprints itself upon the subconscious. It is not mere fantasy. It is the act of retuning your antennas. By imagining not only with the mind, but with the body, by feeling as though the new reality is already yours, you shift shift the entire broadcast of your being, and reality, faithful as a mirror, responds. When you bring these insights together, the path becomes clear. Coherence of heart and mind to clear the static, stillness to step out of survival, repetition of new emotional states to carve new grooves, silence from overstimulation to reset attention, stability of anchors to hold the master frequency. Piece by piece, the trap dissolves until only clarity remains. And in that clarity, life responds, not with chaos, but with harmony, not with noise, but with the music you have longed to hear. You are not you are not the distorted song of the past. You are the tuner. You are the one who holds the dial. And once you turn it with awareness, once you align it with intention and emotion in harmony, the music of your desired reality flows without resistance. This is how you finally break free from the hidden frequency trap, by remembering that the signal has always been yours to choose.